does SpongeBob SquarePants and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 have in common? Did you see it? Did you see it? Always remember. Did you see it? Did you see it? Choose to die for. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Make sure you do not go anywhere near weird houses that may or may not contain some seemingly disturbing stuff. The locals might be really friendly, you might be able to be meeting some new people, you might even learn some of the new dialect. But there is one problem, and that is that you should not be trusting anything that you see when it comes to their traditions. Speaking of traditions, did you see a 2016 found footage movie with incredible potential? Seems to be something that not a lot of people even know. Consisting of a story that is based around better homes and gardens, meets a little bit more of an Evil Dead vibe. Documentary film crew decides to move into the sleepy town of Petrovia in order to try and document a house that has been rebuilt from the ground up, but is holding some very sinister secrets. You got your standard sort of cabin movie affairs that always exist. Whether you can believe some of the stuff that happens here or not, this is definitely going to be one that I think you're going to want to keep on watching. Just like they're watching you while you're watching them, that they're watching you be watched with the watchers. Yeah, I think that's right. They're watching. Which, by the way, if you even try to be able to Google this film, you're probably going to come up with a lot of little issues. You try typing in where to stream they're watching, it's like, okay, well, they're watching while we're watching with what streamers they're... Okay, this joke has already gone on too far. Written by the people who gave us SpongeBob SquarePants and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That is what sold me on this film. I thought it was going to be going into a very disturbing outlook that was kind of like the events of Blair Witch meets As Above, So Below, set in a very European town. What I got was something far more insane. But does the insanity really hold up to make it one that is worth your viewing? Honestly, when I say this with 100%, the writing in this is very, very good. It is well crafted, it is well directed, it is something that a lot of people find that when it comes to found footage films, they feel like it's going to be a little too mundane. Over the top, that tries to be able to throw in a few things and try to really sell itself on its premise. It's overabundance with trying to throw in little sprinkles of jokes every now and again. You can really tell that these are the writers of SpongeBob SquarePants. They've got those jokes that are so bad it's good, they're sort of sticking in mind for a while. Half of the time, I did manage to get a few chuckles. Oh, a few. What am I talking about? There were moments where I literally was laughing out loud from how ridiculous some of the lines were. Now, that's not to say that the actual writing itself is all that, you know, hunky-dory. In fact, there are a few moments that feel it didn't really know what sort of style it was going for. You can really tell when the writers of SpongeBob, and I cannot believe I'm saying this on a horror film, that the writers of SpongeBob switched over with the writers from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. You're putting a game that has been renowned and is absolutely beloved by fans all across the world with a show that we grew up on when we were kids. That is in this. If you thought that that is the most baffling thing that's part of it, then you are sorely mistaken. The actors have all got their own sense of wanting to be able to feel like you need to understand them, to connect with them. And the good thing is that for a majority of the time, you are connecting with them. When it comes to David Alpay, he is the only one in this film that I looked at and I said, okay, I understand why he was in the show from. From this to be from that, and again, I've run off onto the tangent with the whole from factor with they're watching from, and I'm watching them from somewhere else. Hell, even down to the actual locals themselves. Half the time they're not saying anything, instead they're just watching you. But at the same time, when you are watching them, you're starting to realize that there is something really disturbing going on within the walls of this picture. When it comes to the set design, did they actually build this set? Or did they take it from someone where they actually paid them money to be on it for? Did they film this before and then they shot it afterwards for the opening? It might be a little bit misconstrued, it might be a little bit confusing at times, but they definitely try to be able to explain everything as they go. Even then, there are moments where they drill it into your head where right at the start I went, well, that was definitely scripted. There's no way that they would have said something like this. To moments where you're like, okay, now I understand why they said it to us 20 times. I myself, personally, am a huge fan of the genre. Shaky camera to the feeling like we are literally looking at some police file footage, dumbass, happened to come across. Either that or we are the detectives who was trying to investigate this. But there is one issue when it comes to this. Found footage genre needs to be able to have some good and some bad, and unfortunately this tends to fall into that category of they really didn't need to have this. Some of the words that are written in this script feel like they are very scripted. Whether or not it comes to the moments where you think, okay, was this actually written in the script exactly how it says? They make it feel like the editing was done in such a way that it was put together just on the fly. But then it also flies it out the window thinking to himself, then how is it that this was able to be put together? Which, now that I realize as I am thinking about the ending, I'm realizing how it came to be. So never mind what I just said, dumbass. That is how this movie is played out though. Though it felt very natural, very improvisational. That's a word. You want to make it feel real. You want to make the people feel like they are real people. To follow their life, to follow their story, to follow what you see on screen. Cutting down to it as well, the CGI is horrendously bad. Now, does that hurt the film? No. What hurts the film is its pacing. This is an hour and 45-minute film, and it takes, no joke, a good hour and 12 minutes to get to where the shit needs to happen. They didn't need that. They didn't need that. Oh, that was a good bit. They didn't need it. Maybe because they realized they needed to make sure that you're watching, that they're watching, that every single thing, every aspect of this movie has been filmed. Do I have a problem with it? Yes. Yes, I do. Because there was so much more potential here. But I will say, the potentialness definitely shows when it comes to the viciousness of the kills. The violent nature of this film, even though it takes a very long time to be able to get to it, is still worth it. The entire last act of the film is honestly worth its admission price alone. The kills range from what the fuck to holy shit, what the hell am I watching? Completely split in two. You've got half of their body being hung out to dry, splinterings of wood going through, weapons that are reused against them. I like how the minute that I said anything about the kills, the entire camera just shut off. It's like, oh no, we can't show this because it's gonna be too much. You've got so much violence happening on screen, but it only happens in the last 10 minutes of the movie. It is a slow burn that goes from slow to tedious to monotonous to boring to why the fuck am I still watching this? You can tell that they really heavily edited this. It is just the sudden camera turn that looks like it was filmed in a studio backlot rather than it being the shaky cam footage. It takes you out of the immersion factor, and when it comes to a found footage film, that is the whole aspect of found footage, is immersion. It's trying to keep you immersed. Why do found footage movies need music? Why? It would have been better to be able to have it play out where we can just feel the characters' emotions, where we can understand the depth and the gravity of a certain situation. But no, there is no point when it comes to music in a found footage film. You name a found footage film that has got music in it that is unnecessary from the get-go. There's only one that I can think of where it works, and that is As Above, So Below. God, spoken about As Above, So Below, I might as well review the fucking thing by now. The main selling point of this was supposed to dictate a combination of the comedic timing and values from SpongeBob SquarePants versus the raw, powerful, dramatic nature of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And while that was a selling point, it ultimately was a little bit of a letdown. This Better Homes and Gardens meets Outlast with Evil Dead proportions has a very low pulse. It is still breathing, its heart is still beating, but it's not enough to be able to hold on to you for a very long time. And that's why They're Watching gets... Now, I always like to end my reviews with a quote from the film. And my favourite quote, and there were quite a few of them, was, oh, that is not a good idea. See, I told you it wasn't a good idea. You'll know it when you see it. But that being said, did you see it? Will you see it? And if so, let me know in the comments. Until then, I've been DJ. And always remember, that's for Denya. Wait, that's not right. Did you see it? Well, guys, that about wraps it up for this review. If you want to be able to see anything else, I've got my Cabin Fever, I want to say Cabin in the Woods, review down there, as well as a bunch of older ones that I did with a different sort of backdrop, but still having the same sort of mentality. But always remember that whenever it comes to your opinions, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Everyone is entitled to them, and that means that you are part of those as well.